Welcome to Health and Harmony Beyond the Teeth, where we dive into all subjects that will help you become healthier and happier. As a dentist, I believe dentistry is more than just teeth. So I created this show to focus on overall health. We will hear from leading experts about eating better, exercising better, breathing better, and sleeping better. We want to help you create harmony in your life so you can live your life to the fullest. We want you to thrive. Hello and welcome to Health and Harmony Beyond the Teeth. My name is Dr. Hal Stewart. It's great to have you here today. You know, being in dentistry and in whole health with my patients now for 30-something years, I appreciate the pharmaceutical industry and a lot of the wonderful things they've done. Personally, I feel like there are so many remedies for health that are non-pharmaceutical, things that people can be doing so they don't have to take medications, so they don't have to take drugs. Every drug you take has an effect, but it also has numerous side effects. And so that always has to be taken into consideration. And when we can do things more naturally, I feel that's always better. Today I have with me Landis Feltz. She's a registered dental hygienist. Landis, welcome.
Thank you.
I've had the pleasure of knowing Landis for over 20 years now.
Yes.
She was one of the very first hygienists that ever worked in my practice. And she is an amazing hygienist, an amazing person, but she's also a silver member of Young Living, which is an essential oil company that is like the Mercedes of essential oil companies. And there is a difference in essential oils in the way that they're made. So today is not an advertisement for Young Living by any measure, but I do want to give Landis and the kudos out to Essential Living for having such an incredible member as Landis. And so today what we hope to do is I'm going to have Landis educate all of us about essential oils. We're actually going to go over some specific oils and how they can help you as an individual and your family, even your pets, right? There's some things that essential oil can, for pets, you can cook with it. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing. And it's all from God's green earth. There's nothing unnatural about it. So Landis, welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
I guess I'll start out by just give us a brief description of, what is an essential oil and why they're so efficacious or why they're so effective when used properly.
So essential oils are essentially the lifeblood of a plant, tree, shrub, whatever it may be. So when you're looking at essential oils, what we're talking about is once, let's say, lavender is cut, what happens is that essential oil rises to the surface in order to heal. That's really what it's for. It's to heal the plant. It's part of their self-defense. So whether it be, for instance, a frankincense tree, and you strip the bark, that sap that comes to the surface is to try to heal that area where the bark is missing, but that is to help heal that area of the plant. The way that our cells are made are very, very similar to the way that plants are made. So it ends up being able to help us in our immune system as well.
Well, that's amazing because our Creator put plants on this earth for our benefit.
Yes.
So anything that they can create on their own in their own little pharmaceutical plant that they have in each individual plant would be good for us as well, because many of these plants we eat, we digest them anyway.
Correct.
So what are the different ways that a person can use an essential oil? Is it do they just rub it on somewhere, or do they, are there other ways to get it in your body or working for you?
So we have essentially 3 ways that Young Living essential oils can be used. You mentioned that they were the Mercedes, if you will. If you go to a natural grocery store, you're going to be reading labels and you're not going to see ingestion. That is one of the main ways that we can use essential oils from Young Living, because they are above food grade. Okay, so they are pharmaceutical grade essential oils. You can use them topically and you can use them aromatically. So I have some things here that I can show you that we can go through some of those processes.
Okay, so I'm assuming this this is how you use it aromatically, right?
Correct.
This is a diffuser?
It is.
Correct? So how does a diffuser work?
So there is an ultrasonic plate within that diffuser. So you add water. This one is particularly water. So you add water. You can add a few drops of essential oil. And what will happen is that as it vaporizes, there are essential oils that are carried throughout that vapor. It's not going to make, for instance, you're never going to see a ring around your desk. It's not going to be so heavy that it's, creating humidity like a humidifier. It is literally going to disperse throughout the air. So that is one great way to use it aromatically.
So if you put, how many drops of oil would you put in this? Say lavender. We'll talk about lavender in a little bit, but
so I
how many
put
drops?
between 4 and 5 drops.
And how long will that last?
This particular diffuser will last intermittently up to 8 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay. So 4 or 5 drops of lavender, which is naturally very relaxing, that you could be breathing that for 6-8 hours.
Right. So, for instance, if you put it beside your beside your bedside at night, the intermittent is 30 seconds on and 30 seconds off. And so that is just helping. Sleep is a big thing at our office. And so with that essential oil that is going through the air in 30 seconds and then it shuts off for 30 seconds and it's being dispersed throughout the night. And if you're getting the 8 hours that you need, then this is going to run the entire night.
Great. And really, it wouldn't make sense for it just to be coming out 100% all the time because you couldn't breathe all of that in anyway.
Right. Well, but actually, because of education and regarding homeschooling, I never used an intermittent diffuser while I was sitting at the table. I was always having a diffuser that ran all the time because I needed that focus and that concentration while we were sitting there doing school.
Okay, and interesting. We'll get back to that in a moment about that because there are oils that will not synthetically, but that will actually help you focus and everything. So we have a diffuser is one way. Now this is like a capsule that you might have taking a supplement or something. What would that be for?
Okay, so that right there is to take oils internally, and there are multiple ways that you can do that. So, for instance, I came in today with a stainless steel cup that had a stainless steel straw. I have my water in there, and I have my lemon vitality in there. That'll segue us in just a second. So I can drink lemon oil all day long. There's wonderful things that does for your body. But, for instance, if I know that I'm not going to have, well, let's be honest. Maybe I don't want to taste a taste all day long. Let's talk about fennel. Okay, I like fennel, but I maybe don't like super concentrated fennel.
Right.
So I can put it in that capsule and then I can take it internally.
Okay.
This particular capsule is a veggie capsule, but you can use those. There are plenty everywhere.
Where do you get these capsules?
So you can buy veggie capsules from Young Living, but you can buy even like gelatin capsules from Amazon or any health food store that's going to have capsules.
So these are empty capsules. I want to be clear on this. Then you place in them the oils that you want to ingest.
Correct.
Okay.
So you can use that and take it in, and then they don't break down until they get to the small intestine, which is where all of your absorption is going to occur. So it takes that long to break through. So that's a great way to use oils as well.
Great. So I see a bottle here with oil in it. So obviously that's something you can just pump. Is that 100% oil, or is it mixed in with something else, or
this particular,
what would you use that for?
This particular compound is called V6. That means that there's 6 different vegetable oils, 6 different vegetables that are in this, and we use that as a carrier oil. So let's say that you want to take some lavender. Okay, lavender historically has been used as a natural antihistamine. Okay, so seasonal weather, you've been wanting to take some lavender, but if you have an issue with burping things up, you can put some V6 to finish off your capsule, swallow it, and that makes it easier digestively, and you don't have that situation where you're burping it up.
So after you get through eating, you can say, I could have had a V6, right?
Yes. So you can also use this compound for topical application. So let's say that I have some soreness due to working out, let's say in my knee. So something that we can use for that is actually the peppermint. So this is peppermint right here, and this is labeled for topical and aromatic use. So you can put some peppermint on your knee, and peppermint is hot. What does that mean? It means that the molecules in it are so light that it absorbs into your skin very quickly. So let's say that that is uncomfortable for you, then you can turn around and use some V6 and rub it, and it will help slow down the absorption. You still get all your molecules, okay, but that way it's not bothering you.
Yeah.
This is, of course, particularly useful when you have children. I don't have to dilute pretty much anything on myself these days. But as kids are more sensitive. And so you can use that V6 and help slow down that absorption for them and make it more comfortable.
Well, I know one time you told me if you ever, because I use essential oils too, thanks to Landis, but she told me if I ever put an oil on and it's uncomfortable, the first thing that people think to do is go wash with water. But that's what you do is just get some olive oil, I don't know,
coconut oil, you could use V6,
canola oil, and rub it on there, and if there's any discomfort, it goes away immediately.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting. The molecules in these oils are so small that they can actually penetrate and get to where you want them to go very quickly. So, for instance, what would you, if you had a muscle ache, you just had a sore arm or a sore neck, and you're going to rub an oil on that to just go in locally right there at that site and make it feel better and penetrate into the muscle, what would be something you might do for that? So
actually, 2 out of the 3 oils that I would use as a combination to do that are right here. So I mentioned that peppermint, and again, this is labeled for topical and aromatic use. If you were to look at the directions on the side of this, those are what the directions are going to be. So this is an oil called copaiba. Copaiba, this is of course...
Copaiba.
Copaiba.
How do you spell that?
Copaiba.
Okay,
copaiba.
Just like it sounds.
Yep. So what you're going to do is and I also use frankincense for this. So I'm first going to put a drop of peppermint and put it on. The next, I'm going to put a drop of copaiba, put it on. And the last, I'm going to put a drop of frankincense on. And what that's going to do is it's going to rub right into the skin, and they work together. And then if I had any discomfort at all, I could turn around and go with the V6 and put it on top of that. But
so you're dropping each one of those on the spot and then rubbing it in. Okay.
Yes. So with that combination, you're going to end up relieving some temporary soreness that you have. So there are so many things that you can use these for. Peppermint, for instance, is so versatile that you could, if we use, let's segue into this.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you got there?
So this is peppermint, but this is peppermint vitality, okay? According to the FDA, there is no product that can be ingested, used topically, or aromatically, okay? There's no product for that. We know that's not true, but the FDA regulates drugs, okay?
Right.
So anything that heals, treats, cures is also considered a drug. So this right here is not their department. So what we're going to do here in order to make the FDA happy is that, again, this is topical, but this is labeled for ingestion. So you can...
In your own personal experience, are you seeing oils heal, treat, and cure?
For myself, absolutely. Me and my family.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I believe in them so much. And I've done this, it's been 8 years, and it's amazing. And the wonderful thing about these is that there's no negative side effects. So you don't end up with something. Oils are meant to balance. And so there are oils that can help support proper blood viscosity. You can use that oil to help if you need some thinning and for it to not be so viscous. And then you can turn right around and use that exact same oil for someone who maybe has a clotting issue. And it's the same oil. Why? Because it knows what you need. It knows what you need. Which way do you need to go? Do you need to be thicker? Do you need to be thinner? You can turn around and use the exact same oil. It's really amazing. So, for instance, blood pressure medication. You can't take 2 blood pressure pills. You're going to crash.
Yeah.
But you can use lavender to help calm you, and it can help support proper blood pressure. But you can also use it to turn right around and help you fall asleep. But if you needed to use that as an antihistamine, then you can use that for that. How many antihistamines create an increase in blood pressure. We take blood pressure every day at the office on every patient that walks in the door. So those can increase. So it's just amazing how well they work. They are very well balanced. So for the peppermint vitality, let's say I have, it's Thanksgiving and I ate a little too much. Okay.
That never happens.
Never, never. So I can take this and I can either put it, let's say I can swab it in my cheek. I can put it in a capsule. I can even put a drop in my water. And as I drink, that's going to help settle this right here. Peppermint has also been shown when you add to your water to help increase the amount of time you can exercise because it is an oxygen carrier. So it's carrying oxygen to places that you might need a little help. And so that helps with that. So peppermint is really versatile. And so there's just some ways that you can use it both topically and in your capsule. And
there's some oils that you cook with, right?
Absolutely. Well,
I know oregano, right?
Yeah.
What is this?
You could cook with that peppermint.
Oh, with peppermint.
So at Christmas time, you're making peppermint bark. Add a drop of peppermint, and instead of using an extract, which is food grade, you can use this.
Yeah.
So, and I don't have to worry about quality. I don't have to worry about, is it organic? I don't have to worry about any of that because this is above organic standards.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to be able to use those. Really nice. You use peppermint whenever, let's just say you need some respiratory help and you're slightly congested. Let's put a drop of peppermint on your palm.
Clear it right up.
It will. You put your thumb right here and you press onto your palate for 30 seconds. You're using the vitality because it is labeled for internal consumption, and you press that up in your palate, 30 seconds. It'll help open those airways. Those are some of the ways that we use those.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is amazing at some of the things that you can do with these oils that will give you an instant relief from congestion, from pain. I know several years ago, it's when Landis came back to our office. She worked for us 20 years ago. Then she came back and worked part-time. But right before she started coming back full-time, she had been into this essential oils. And I was at a meeting in Denver. And I was absolutely miserable. Well, the lady sitting behind me, whom we've become great friends with, Tara McKenna, she pulled out her little black bag and she had olive oils in it, and she started mixing and doing this and that and the other. And the next thing I knew, she had me feeling, I'm not going to say 100% better, but I was much, much better because it was really severe. And it was almost instantly. And so it was pretty amazing. It really was. There's some more here. Let's talk about there's just so many oils. We can't talk about them all today, but I asked Landis to bring some of them, the more maybe common ones that the average person out there, if they wanted to get started in this, might want to use. So what else do we have here?
Part of the reason why that helps, and almost quickly, because it doesn't have to go, every pill we take has to go through your gastric system. It has to go through your GI tract.
Yeah,
and this is local.
Yep.
So it's in your bloodstream like that. That's one of the ways that you can do that. Okay, so this is not a really, we're back to digestion. This is called Digize. Okay, so Digize comes in both a topical and aromatic application and a vitality application, which is going to be internal. This is one that I don't particularly enjoy the smell. It's very phenol based, which I guess that's why I thought about this earlier. But
does that have kind of a licorice smell to it? Yeah.
Yes. So here's a perfect example of this, though. Let's say that your baby is going to have some gas and having some problems. So you can't give them a capsule to take, but something you can do is to take this topically, just a tiny bit with a baby. You're going to take a drop. You're going to take your finger, you're going to go like this, and you're going to rub it on that baby's tummy. And it will internalize very quickly and help relieve some of that gas. We talked about this just a minute ago with a capsule. This is another great way. And in fact, I would use these two combined in a capsule to support my GI tract. That's one way that we could do that. So that's one that you don't see a ton, but Digize is something that especially for young children, it is a wonder. Have you ever been traveling? And I was traveling with you in the office one time, and I got food poisoning. This would have been something that I absolutely 100% wished that I would have had at that point in time. And my son had surgery a year ago, was coming out of anesthesia, had really difficult time. I actually created, he's probably not going to like me telling this, I actually created some suppositories. So you could, it's internal use. It didn't say how internal. So you could melt some coconut oil, drop some Digize in there, put your coconut oil in the freezer, and you can use that internally. And within probably an hour and a half of doing that, it all ceased. And I could have gone to call the doctor and had a pharmaceutical and said, hey, I need some Phenergan or I need whatever. But the suppository was perfect. It worked well for him. So he quit vomiting and had a lot of relief. So we have used these, like I said, we just continue to use them, and I'm surprised more and more. The copaiba that I mentioned earlier is something that, what do we deal with? We deal with inflammation. Disease exists in inflammation. If there's no inflammation, there's no disease, right? So this is great just to internally take. You could do this even every day to help support your well-being. We're lessening that inflammatory process by supporting natural inflammatory pathways. And so my vitality walked out the door with my husband today. He didn't know I needed it. So this comes in a vitality, and you can certainly use it in a capsule.
So most anti-inflammatory, well, all anti-inflammatories are made to treat a condition that's already there.
Correct.
This actually boosts your body's natural defense against inflammation. And so it really is treating at the source of your defense, and not coming in and swooping in when something is happening, like you would take an aspirin for, or ibuprofen or something like that.
And another wonderful thing about that, in that, you know, for instance, running fever. We take all sorts of medicines to get rid of fever.
Yeah.
God made you to have fever on purpose. It is meant to burn up whatever's in your body that is causing a problem. So oftentimes, as I began using essential oils, you know, you have fever for days. I mean, it may take 3, 4, 5 days, and you finally run your fever cycle. Whereas if I would treat it only at a comfort level. You know, I don't want them to be so uncomfortable, my kids, for instance, that they're not sleeping. But if you let fever do its job, because fever has a job, then your fever cycle may last a day and a half. Those are things that we don't think about. Modern medicine, we're always taking meds.
Right.
And inflammation is exactly the same way. Inflammation is there because there's a problem, but if you let it do its job, it's going to help you heal faster.
Yeah.
So, how about our favorite? Let's talk about lavender.
Yeah.
So here is the lavender vitality, and here's the lavender. Topical and aromatic, internal. Last time we talked about me mixing up just like your friend in Denver mixed up. You could actually add lavender, peppermint, and lemon in a capsule and help take it to help support you seasonally, right? So how many of you know that you can have lavender lemonade? People, you know, lavender is being used in all sorts of food applications these days. I've had a lavender, I'm supposed to be healthy. I had a lavender chocolate cake the other day, and it sounds odd, but it was just enough. It wasn't too much. It wasn't like, you know, being out in the field and chewing on a piece of lavender. But you can use that. And like I said, lavender lemonade is something that's really popular, but you can use it in a capsule. You can also just drop this under your tongue because that's internal. Swab it in your cheek. But the lavender here is for topical and aromatic use. So let's go back to that baby. Upset, needs to go to sleep, put a little lavender, put it on the bottom of the foot because that foot is so porous, and we have that reflexology map of everything, the Chinese still use that, in medicine, the bottoms of your feet and actually your hands represent your whole body.
Right.
So you put that on the bottom of your foot and it's able to go to where it needs to go in order to help calm you down, in order to have an issue with that. This is also great for, I have 2 cats, and sometimes in play, I can get snagged with a claw. And this is great to just use topically and rub it right in that area. And it's great, anything for skin. Yes.
And something that I have told several of my patients, because for those of you that might just be new listeners, we, in our dental practice, we also have a craniofacial development, sleep, and airway practice as well. It's all about total wellness and health. So we have a number of patients that are on CPAPs, which are continuous pressure, airway pressure while you're sleeping for people with sleep apnea. Well, a couple of drops of lavender, they all have a little reservoir where they humidify the water. A couple of drops of lavender in that, and man, you talk about really getting it in your system and helping you relax and sleep well. Mm-hmm. Could even put an anti-inflammatory in there as well.
Absolutely.
So you're breathing that all night long.
Absolutely. And the copaiba, the Vitality version, is great. I told you I put the lemon in my water. Why not? Mm-hmm. The copaiba is really mild.
Yeah.
So you could add the lemon and the copaiba and drink it, and you have something going through you all the time.
So lemon, lavender, peppermint, copaiba, we've talked about those. Tell us a little bit about nutmeg. That's a term everybody's familiar with.
Yes, it's a spice, right?
Exactly.
It's something that we have. So
I have a feeling there's some other very good health benefits to nutmeg.
There are. Okay, so here's your nutmeg, here's the Vitality, and here's the topical. Now, topically, what are we going to do? Topically, actually, it supports the adrenal glands. Believe it or not. So your adrenal glands are a little bean-shaped gland that are on top of your kidney. They sit right up here on top of your kidney. Today's world, especially with everything we've had going, anxiety is maxed out, hugely anxious. So you're using some lavender. I actually have on a diffuser necklace. Let's say that you put some lavender in here. You're constantly inhaling that. You're constantly smelling that. Put some nutmeg topically on your adrenal glands right here. It is going to help those know that you are not in fight or flight. This is normal everyday life. You're not in an emergency situation. So many people with adrenal fatigue today. So that's really one of the very main reasons to use nutmeg. But of course, you can use nutmeg to cook. You can use it to bake. You can use it to, put it in some wassail, Christmas time stuff.
Absolutely.
So because this is a fall winter flavor.
Yeah.
So you can use it in that. Well, guess what? You're just going to receive that benefit because you're taking it in internally. So this is also a great way to be able to use nutmeg. So you're getting double your dose.
It's amazing. How many essential oils are there?
Young Living, that's a good question. If I was
approximately.
I was just about to say, Young Living carries over 600 products.
Yeah.
But they carry, they have supplements. In fact, they have something to support the thyroid called Thyromin. Guess what? Nutmeg is in that.
So of these 600 products, there's a lot of them are combinations of different
Absolutely.
oils. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have skincare, which is going to use oil. We have, in fact, if I remember correctly, out of those 600 products, we only have 5 that don't have any essential oil. And they are probiotics and a few others. But besides, as far as products that you either take or that you use on your body, deodorants and personal care products, products to clean your home, all of those things like that, they're all essential oil infused.
Do they carry like skin moisturizers and toners and things like that?
All their skincare. Okay. And, frankincense in the Middle East is kind of the Swiss Army knife, if you will. It's used in so many different ways.
It's the duct tape of oils.
Yeah, I like that. It is. Okay. I'll steal that. So we have moisturizers that have frankincense. Well, if those are going to be really good for the skin, what do you think it's going to help you with your skin? Lavender is a huge one in our products because it's so good for the skin. So there's so many different things. I mean, all of those different things have essential oils infused in them. As a matter of fact, my lipstick has cinnamon and it's infused within it, which sounds like it would be hot, but it's diluted. But it's called, let's use something that's going to help your body and let's infuse your body. And then that way, if you don't need anything within the cinnamon, then so be it. But I'm not putting something that's toxic on my skin. I'm putting something that God created in the Garden of Eden. And you want to talk about aromatherapy. Think about walking around and being Adam and Eve.
Right.
So all of that was there, and he created it all knowing in advance that we would need it because of the fall. It's a beautiful thing to think about.
Well, and you talked about skin. As our listeners may or may not know, our heart is an organ, our lungs are an organ, our kidneys are an organ. The largest organ in the entire human body is our integumentary system, which is our skin. It regulates our temperature, it absorbs medications, but it will absorb bad things just as well as it will absorb good things. And so we're not saying that every over-the-counter product out there is, never take it, but just be a smart consumer and look at let's say you get something like Bengay or a product that's over the counter look at the other things that are in it. There's active ingredients, there's ingredients that are there to help it be the right consistency to carry it to your body. All of these are being absorbed by your skin, and which is the largest absorptive organ that we have. Absolutely. Is our skin. And so not only is the health of our skin important from a standpoint of us looking good and having nice smooth skin, fewer wrinkles as we get older, but it serves as an incredibly important health purpose. And so what you rub on that skin, what you put on your skin, gets inside of your body one way or the other. So if you're going to be putting things on your skin, they might as well be as natural and as healthy as possible. Yeah,
for instance, once you start learning, and this could be a whole talk in and of itself, but I'm going to say parabens, for instance. If you go and you look at your shampoos and your conditioner, this is your head. This isn't just your skin, but what are we close to here? So parabens, phthalates, those things like that, they are, here's a challenge. Go Google phthalate, P-H-L-A-T-E-S. Sorry about that. So what that's going to do is you're going to be able to see, and you're going to see that it is a possible carcinogen. Well, guess what's full of phthalates? Lotions, all these beautiful things like this. So if you're putting that on you because you're trying to take care of your skin, what toxic chemical are you taking inside and absorbing that's not going to do its job in another organ of your body, in cells? So when you start looking, parabens is one that's become pretty common that you see, especially on dishwashing or clothes washing, things like that. So turn your bottle over. Look at those active ingredients. And that's part of the reason why Young Living has become so successful, because they have created products that are free of toxic chemicals. Is it?
Great.
Yeah.
Great advice, great words. We always end our episodes with a song that is chosen by our guest. So what song have you chosen today, Landis?
I've chosen The Blessing.
The Blessing.
It's by Carrie Job and Cody Carnes. They're married. They actually came out of my church that I attend, and it is a great affirmation. The world is always speaking negatively to us.
Let's listen to it first.
Okay, all right.
Let's hear a snippet of the song, and then you can.
Sounds good.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. Amen. Amen.
I'm assuming that was
That's right at the very beginning.
her husband.
It is. That's
Yeah.
Cody.
Carrie's husband. Cody.
Yes, that's Cody.
So how does the song speak to you?
Because there are so many things in the world that are constantly coming against you, and if you are a Christian and you read the word, the kingdom of the world is the enemy. He's the serpent that was in the garden, and everything just comes in and takes a toll. And this is a beautiful, every word in that song has been taken directly from scripture and the things that God is saying over you. And sometimes you need a reminder of that. So these are the things that God says about you. These are the ways that God is taking care of you. And it's just good to hear. Wrap yourself up in that.
Boy, it's so good to hear things like that when there's so many negative things out there.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we feel like there's not any good in the world, but there's a lot of good in the world because God made it, and you're one of them, Landis. And
Thank you.
These essential oils that God himself created. If people want to know more about essential oils, do you have a website they can go to?
Actually, what I'm going to have you do is that you can email me at landis@thestewartcenter.com, and we will. I would be happy to. I would be happy to talk we are doing classes now via Zoom.
You have a Zoom
I do.
educational class coming free.
Yes.
On what? June?
I don't know when this will air, but it's on June the 8th at 7. So this may be after that, but you can contact me or you can contact Alex at thestewartcenter.com, and we will get you hooked up. We'll get you some information. I never intended to be a salesman, and I don't consider myself a salesman. I consider myself a sharer, because it's so great to have an awesome benefit and an alternative way to help take care of our health.
Yeah, that's great. So that's Landis, Landis, at thestewartcenter.com. She'll answer all your questions. It's been my pleasure today.
Thank you.
Landis, thank you so much. And you guys stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll see you at the next podcast. Thanks a lot. This is Dr. Hal Stewart saying adios.